What time is it, my creatives? That's right, it's photo hacking time. And today we're going to be doing a user requested critique. Now, normally I don't like to do critiques because that creates a negative environment between my followers and myself, and I don't want to seem like I'm a know-it-all, even though I do have a lot of experience in the field and have been doing this for quite some time, but I don't like to make people feel less than. And I find that a lot of graphic designers just can't handle critiques, and that's why I don't do them. This is the sensitive era where everybody is offended by everything, and the last thing I want to do is offend people. But since this person has requested, excuse me, got a little frog in my throat, and that is, no, it's not COVID-19. I totally evaded that, and I hope you guys did too. But yes, he is wanting to know how he can get approved on Creative Market. A lot of people keep asking me this questions because they keep getting denied. And so we're going to explore this. Now, my answers probably aren't going to be what this person wants to hear, but it's completely honest. And I do not have that thing where people can sugarcoat stuff. So some of my answers are going to be completely blunt. It's not insensitive or, taking jabs at anyone. I just want to make that crystal freaking clear. All right, so let's get into it. So Bora Uysal is asking me about getting on Creative Market. They're telling him don't even apply again, no future requests. And he wants to know, should he use another IP email or even whatever. Okay, so it's not like Creative Market has a list of people and they're checking it twice. Pretty sure that if he changes his complete portfolio, changes his complete business name, and uses a different IP or email address, I'm pretty sure that they would have no idea that it's the same person. But I digress. So the problem, and we're going to go ahead and take a look if I can get my mouse to work. I'm screen recording, so sometimes it acts janky. So this is his portfolio. Now, first thing I want to mention here, he says he's a graphic designer, a fashion designer, and a stained glass artist. Okay, so I had previously had a conversation about people who put too many eggs in too many baskets, and the whole ideal of reverse niching and niching it down to just one thing. So if you take a look at Creative Market, many of these people, what they do is they stick with a certain thing, and their whole shop is filled with just that one certain thing. Like this person, they design fonts, this person does watercolor, and you could see a whole trend in that. Okay? So you're claiming to be a graphic designer, a fashion designer, and a stained glass art. Well, a graphic designer is a broad term. I don't see anything in here that would be considered graphic design. I don't see anything in here that would be considered fashion design. And I don't see how anything in here is considered stained glass art either. What I do see here is that you could possibly be a textile designer. A textile designer creates patterns. That's mainly what I do. I create digital paper. So I would probably change this to textile artist or digital, you make digital paper or something simple. But this here, it doesn't appear that you do any of this. Okay, so if this is considered stained glass art, maybe it's digital stained glass art. I'm just confused as how that would be considered stained glass art. And I'm just going from the front page here. You have a mix of just patterns here. And primarily none of this stuff is bundled. It's not really unique or different or anything that people need. So if people don't need it, they're not going to buy it. Okay, so you have to create a use for it. So if nobody's buying a certain product, it doesn't matter how much you have or how good it looks. There's no use for it. Nobody's going to buy it. So the way that this is laid out and the way that you have it distributed, it's not appealing to anyone that would buy it. Now, if you put these in like pattern packs and stuff and created some really good demo photos, then that would probably sell. Also, Shutterstock is not in the same arena as Creative Market. This is a photo stock selling site, and if you know anything about Creative Market, how do I say this? The category that gets the least amount of sales is the photo section. Literally, that is the worst performing part in the Creative Market. And if you're selling photos, they're not going to accept you because people, they come on there and they sell their photos, they don't do well, and then they try to blame it on Creative Market. They don't need any more people selling photos because that is just not what's selling on there. Now, if you're selling graphics like Photoshop brushes, add-ons, templates, especially web themes, 3D, you'll get right on. But if you come to Creative Market trying to sell photos, you're going to get denied because they don't want any more photo sellers, because that is the worst performing section that they have. So I'm going to go back to Creative Market so I can explain something to you. Now, there's a difference between selling patterns and selling patterns that are popular. Right now, it's the 70s theme, fairy core, terrazzo, boho, just like all of that stuff is very, very popular right now. Geo patterns, floral patterns. As you can see, this stuff that's trending at the top of the page is what you need to be creating. Now, you don't have to copy exactly how they do this, and I would not recommend that. But you can make your own patterns based on the subject, okay? So you can make your own natural terrazzo patterns, okay? But the patterns that you have are not trending. Nobody wants them, and that is why Creative Market is not accepting you. That's nothing against you, but if you don't have your stuff categorized a certain way and displayed a certain way, they're not going to. It's a high competition. Look at this person, their display photos, how they are, how nice this is. This is beautifully done. It's simple, but yet just so beautiful. And not saying that your stuff isn't beautiful, it's just the way that you present things. If you go to a store, 9 times out of 10 people are going to buy the package that looks the best, that's priced moderately. I mean, people who have lots of money, they don't spend money on dollar store items, they buy nice shit. And you just have to make your stuff look nice. I love the way that they have their patterns displayed. It looks like little vinyl covers. This is really cool looking. I like it. And so this is displayed very well, and this is how you get onto Creative Market. You're not going to get on Creative Market on using a Shutterstock account. You need to have something similar, like get on Etsy, or what is the other one? You want to get on the Hungry JPEG or Creative Fabrica. Now, those two sites suck for selling digital content. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. But, however, sometimes you have to, crawl before you walk. And everybody was on a different site before they got on Creative Market. Creative Market, the people who came on Creative Market without being somewhere else were invited by Creative Market before the site was even up. So that's one thing that you should know. So you want to get your following through. Now, the good thing about being on Etsy, and why I always recommend Etsy, even though there's a lot of things that I disagree with their marketing and their business practices, I say Etsy because you get to see who's buying from you and collect their email, which you cannot with Creative Fabrica or Hungry JPEG, they essentially steal your customers from you by not allowing you to get that contact information. Plus, you don't know who's buying from you. It could be a competitor or something like that. Basically, the Hungry JPEG and Creative Fabrica, you're basically selling stuff on their store, and they are the highest content to be copyrighted, or what is it, where they steal your content, basically, where it ends up on the arts black market, so that's the bad thing about Hungry JPEG. Literally, I personally think that there's people working there that are reselling content, because literally everything that I've ever sold on there has ended up on the art black market, to where the point where I took most of my stuff down from there. So what I usually do is I just sell the stuff that won't sell on Etsy for $1 over there. So don't really care if it gets, pirated. I seriously doubt anyone's going to pirate something for $1. So, I mean, you might want to start at different smaller places that aren't as big as Creative Market, but that don't really require any vetting to get in. But I would say Etsy's your best bet, because Creative Market usually approves anybody who does have an Etsy site, unless you have some really horrible stats and some really horrible content. I would just be surprised if they didn't approve you if you had an Etsy shop. And I tell you guys to wait 3 months, because it takes about 3 months to just go ahead and generate sales. And another thing is about creating an Etsy shop. Do not create an Etsy shop buying stuff from Creative Market and then creating content that looks like somebody else's content. Don't do that. Unless you're going to be creating original content that you make yourself, you can just forget about Creative Market. Okay? Because they don't want people like that. They want originality, things that sell, not things that other people have already made. If you look at all the stuff on Creative Market, it's probably some of the most unique and creative stuff out there, and there's nothing else like it anywhere else, which is why the sellers are on Creative Market. But that's just my advice to you. So I would go ahead and try to package this in some kind of way that's sellable, and get on Etsy and create some really good cover photos, or otherwise, and also limit what you're doing here. Just like focus on one niche and not, you know what I'm saying? Because you can't claim to be a fashion designer if you have like no fashion design content in any of your portfolios. And I would put these into collections and put it together and demonstrate how people use the content. That's what they want to see. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this very useful, Bora Uysal, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. And thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the content.